Greetings, my name's Elliot Wise. I'm a father and husband first and foremost. I'm an avid entrepreneur that started a website design company, eWise Webs, at the age of 13. That went into e-commerce by the time I was 16, made my first million selling lighting online by the time I was 19. That's evolved into real estate, aesthetics, marketing agencies, and many other businesses, which have made me well in excess of 8 figures. But I've since gone all in on AI. And I'm using this YouTube channel, my social media, to document how I'm implementing it in my business and life and how you can do the same. I want to share with you something today that is extremely powerful. This is the most powerful thing I've ever done with artificial intelligence. And it's even made my mum cry. You know, for all the noise about AI, making money, scaling, automating, yada, 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 the single most powerful thing I've done with it actually had nothing to do with money. It had to do with intense emotions and people that I love crying when they read a letter that I didn't even write, but was more true to who I am than anything I've ever said to her myself. And I want to walk you through exactly how I did that, step by step. So you can do it for yourself, your partner, your kids, your friends, your team, and then this for your business and your content as well. Because what I created here is a way of getting AI to understand you and me specifically in this video at such a deep level that it can explain you to the people in your life better than you've ever been able to do it on your own. Once you have that level of self-understanding encoded, you can use it for everything: relationships, hard decisions, business, content, copy, how you show up in the world. So let me break you down to you exactly what I did. The problem this solves is something I've always believed to be the biggest breakdown in relationships. And whether it's romantic, family, business, and it comes down to poor communication. And that is stemming deeper with the fact that most people don't really know how to express who they are in ways that other people can actually understand and remember. We assume people get us because we live our own lives in our own head all day, but they only ever see it are fragments of us. Your mum sees one version of you, your partner sees another, your team sees the third. None of them see the whole thing, and most people don't have the language to say, look, this is how I'm wired. Here's what drives me, here's what hurts me, here's where I shut down, here's how I show love, here's how I get scared. So they act it out instead, and that's where the chaos starts, this miscommunication. And what I wanted was a way to compress my entire psyche, my patterns, my behaviors, my contradictions into something I could actually show people, which wasn't a personality test, not some horoscope nonsense, but something accurate and precise. AI, when you use it the right way, is actually very good at this. So these are the steps. Step 1, we use ChatGPT to interrogate your soul. So this is where it started. I went into ChatGPT and I didn't say, hey ChatGPT, tell me who I am, because that's extremely vague and it just gives you some generic psychological spill that it gives to everybody else. Instead, I gave it a specific job. I literally said, your job is to understand me at a very deep level. My psychology, my emotional wiring, my blind spots, my values, my fears, and then help me make better decisions in my life based on that information. I want you to ask me 10 questions, one at a time. Each question should reveal something deeper about how I think and who I am. Don't explain to me why you're asking me these questions just yet. Just ask them, wait for me to answer, and then ask the next one. And that's it. You give it that instruction and then you shut up and let it do its work. And now, this is the most important thing that I can tell you about this, because I've done this with many people up to this point. You have to answer honestly. And that's not how you wish you were, not how you want to look on the internet, how you actually are. So I sat there and just answered. And by the way, I didn't answer via text, I answered via voice. I used the voice function on there with the microphone. And I just allowed myself to be completely unshackled from any other emotions other than how I felt about the questions. Some questions are about how I behave under stress, some about success and failure, some about childhood, some about conflict, some about how I treat people I love versus people I lead. Some were just completely random. And I didn't overthink it. I just answered one by one, the first thing that came to my mind and exactly what I thought and felt. If you're doing this yourself, you can, as I said, just hit the voice button and speak your answers. Make sure you're in a quiet place, away from distractions, just be truly honest. Because when you're natural, you will ultimately give your inner deepest thoughts, which is the most important thing. Think of it like having a very intelligent therapist who doesn't tell you what it's doing yet. So step 2, the mirror. You get it to summarize who you are. So once I'd answered all the 10 questions, that's when I told it what to do next. I said something like, now using everything I've just told you, I want you to write a detailed profile of who I am as a person. Talk about my core values, my fears, my strengths, my blind spots, my emotional triggers, the way I show love, the way I react under pressure, and what I'm really chasing in life, even if I hadn't said it directly. And honestly, what it gave me back was confronting in an emotional way, not in a you're a broken way, in a this is why you behave like that kind of way. It reflected patterns that were obvious once I saw them written down because I hadn't been able to verbalize them before. I'd never been able to articulate them. Things like how I link my sense of worth to what I provide, which is huge for me. How I process stress. How I try to protect people I love, even when it backfires. How I can come across as intense or distant when I'm actually just focused. How my drive can be both a gift and a trap. That's the first light bulb moment. You suddenly see yourself the way a very emotionally intelligent, very observant person would see you, probably even better because they can articulate it in human language. And it's compressed into one document. By the way, if you do this, save that document. That becomes your personal operating manual for everything that you then do moving forward. But I didn't stop there. Step 3. This is intense. I now turned this information into letters that change my relationships. Because as I said before, communication is everything. I know that when there's fluid communication, if there is an underlying problems, the communication typically solves all of the other problems that you have. Because quite often it's not breakdown of incompatibility, it's a lack of understanding. So this is where I got really powerful. So I thought, okay, if this model now has a deep understanding of who I am, let's just see how far this can go. How can I use that to help people around me understand me better so I can be better for them? Because remember what I said earlier, most relationships breakdown are not bad intent, they're misalignment and misunderstanding. So I asked it to write letters. I said, using everything you now know about me, I want you to write a letter to my mum. The purpose of this letter is to help her understand who I am at a deeper level, why I am the way I am, how I see the world, how I feel about her, how I show love, what I struggle with, what I'm working on. Write it in my voice. Tell the truth, but in a kind way. And the reason I wanted to do this, by the way, is because I've not been able to articulate to my mum who I really am and the person I'm becoming, because we're very different in who we are as people. And that's quite often the case, is from children to adults, not always, but it's so difficult to understand me. And she quite often misconstrues things that I do maybe as being distant when I'm actually doing the complete opposite, because I'm working for us and who we are as a family. And I wanted to really express this to her. I honestly wrote this letter that I honestly don't think I've written myself. Not because I don't feel those things, but because when you're inside of the emotion, you don't have the clarity, or sometimes you can't find the words. AI isn't feeling anything. It just sees the pattern and expresses it cleanly. So I did the same for my wife. Write a letter to my wife, helping her understand how I am wired as a husband, a father, a provider. Help her see where I might come across as cold, but I'm not. Help her understand how I handle stress, why I get distant, what I'm scared of, what I need from her, and what I want to give to her. And then did one for my team. Important people in my team that are very close to me. Write a letter to my team, the people who work for me, explaining how I lead, what I expect, how I think, what stresses me, how I show appreciation, what I'm working on as a leader, and how they can get the best out of me so I can be the best for them. And I did close friends, same idea. Help them understand me so I can be a better friend to them, and they can understand what I actually need. I sent these letters to my mum, to my wife, to my people. Most of them cried, but in a good way, because it's the first time they weren't guessing. They weren't trying to read between the lines. They weren't piecing me together from fragments or having a misinterpretation of who I am. They had a clear, coherent explanation of who I am and how I'm trying to show up for them. That alone, by the way, is worth doing for this entire process. If you did nothing else with what I've told you about so far, no business, no content, no nothing, and you just use this AI to help people closest to you and understand this better, that would be more than enough. But obviously, I'm Elliot Wise, so I took it one step further. And this is step 4. I turned my psyche into a tool for decisions. Once I had this written profile of who I am, and I'd seen how accurate it could speak to the people around me, I realized, hang on, if this thing understands me and how I tick, why am I not using this to help me make decisions? Because this is where AI is typically seen to be poor. They don't have the inputs to give good outputs. So the better the inputs, the better the outputs. Now I've given it very good inputs for me. So I started using it as a kind of personal advisor. Instead of asking generic questions like, what should I do about this business opportunity? I would say, you know how I'm wired, my values, my goals, my triggers, my tendencies. I'm facing this decision, which could be a business decision, it could be a family decision, whatever it may be. Given who I am and everything you know about me, what path is most aligned with the kind of man I'm trying to be? Where are my blind spots like to show up? What am I overestimating or underestimating? If you were protecting me from my worst patterns, what would you suggest? Now you're not just getting generic pros and cons, you're getting advice contextualized to you. And that's the same with relationships. What's the wise way, excuse the pun, for me to handle this conflict, knowing how I normally react when I feel disrespected or misunderstood? Same with my family. How should I approach this with my kids, knowing my own tendency tends to be X or Y, and my long-term goals as a father? Becomes a mirror and a mentor at the same time. Now, quickly before I go further, I know a lot of you will be looking at this going, look, well, I don't want to listen to AI to help me. I was in that same boat. And what I would say to you is just give this a go. Just give it a go. Because I have yet to find anyone that can articulate in the human language, because language is actually very crude, but language lacks the ability to actually explain emotion. So for example, if you asked 10 different people in words, describe the emotion love, for example, you'd get 10 entirely different understandings. And as we know what love feels like, probably different from all of us, we aren't able to put into words exactly what it is that we mean. We have to use this crude structure, these words that were given to us, to try our best to explain how we're feeling, which is very difficult to do. But AI is the best thing I have found up until this point at doing that. And as a result, it's helped me a lot, but I don't just fully rely on it. I use this as a tool to support me. So AI should be assisting you. It shouldn't be controlling you, and you shouldn't become super reliant on it. Use it to support you. So just wanted to go into that. Now, step 5, this is really good fun, especially for those business owners out there or people trying to build anything in life. You can encode this into your content, your copy and brand, because emotional resonance is everything. Now, if you're building a brand, a business, an AI company, this gets even more interesting because, as I said, now you can say things like, using everything you know about my personality, my work, worldview, my values, my emotional wiring, help me write content that feels like me. Help me write copy for my AI business that would resonate with me first, and by extension with people who are wired like me, because I only want people that resonate with me to be in my circle. It should be a good filter. And if you're using generic copy, we lose that ability to filter people out, and which is what we're seeing a lot now with copy and everybody putting generic ChatGPT stuff out. This strips that and makes it to you, even better than most people could do it on their own. I say that personally because I can't do it as well as it does it. So when you write this for your brand, whether that's the Wise AI or anything else you're building, your content stops feeling generic. Your sales pages, your emails, your social posts, they all come from a deeply consistent place because the model has an internal map of who you are. You can even say, write this in a way that appeals to men like me, corporate, driven fathers, husbands who think like this, feel like this, want like this. That's how you get emotional resonance, not by copy tricks, by actual alignment. How you can do this step by step. If you want to do this for yourself, you don't need to be a technical whiz at all. And here's the simple way to start. You go into ChatGPT, you say something like, I want you to help me understand myself at a very deep level so you can advise me on my life and help me communicate better with the people I care about the most. Ask me 10 questions, one at a time. Each question should reveal something deeper about my psychology, my values, my fears, and the way I behave in relationships and in work. Don't tell me why you're asking it. After I've answered all 10, I'll ask you what I've learned. Wait for my answer after each question before answering the next. Answer honestly. When you're done, say, now, based on my answers, describe who I am as a person in detail. Talk about my strengths, my weaknesses, patterns in relationships, emotional triggers, core values, what I seem to be chasing in life. Then you say, using that understanding, write a letter to my mum, my partner, my child, my team. The purpose is to help them understand who I am at a deeper level so I can show up better for them. Write that in my voice with kindness but honesty. And then you decide who you're brave enough to send it to. From there, you can extend it using this understanding of me, help me think through this decision, help me write content that reflects who I really am, help me build a framework for how I handle conflict, money, work, family, you get the idea. Here's my final thought. Most people are using AI to avoid themselves. They're asking it for shortcuts, hacks, templates, done for you thinking. The most powerful thing you can do is the opposite. Use it to know yourself better. Use it to help people you love understand you better. Then use that as the foundation for how you build, how you lead, how you create. When you combine deep self-knowledge with leverage like AI, that's when things really start to move. And if you want me to share the exact prompt I use in my own 10 questions and the letters, it'll be provided in the description just below. And if you do this, and it changes the relationship in your life, I genuinely would love to hear about it below, because people are fear-mongering and using AI for personal gain or negativity. It's really nice to see real positivity coming out of technology and people being brought closer together by technology, which is ironic and probably one of the first times I've seen it in AI. And that's something I love about AI. This is the part I think we're massively underestimating, because we can use this tool for good or for bad. And it's not what AI can do for your business, which by the way is absolutely profound. It's what it can do for the people around you, through you, once you actually let it see who you are. If you love this video, once again, please comment below any questions and anything else you want to see on future videos. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next.